What's up guys, welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to be doing some metal work on the S14. I ended up picking up spare Zenki hood. I've got two pairs of spare Zenki fenders. What I want to try to do is make it a little spicier, maybe a little more aggressive while also being functional. Want to cut a vent, kind of like the D-Max style vent in the fender there. I'm going to do some openings over the turbo just to get some of that heat out of the engine bay, keep my temps down maybe just a little bit, and it'll look good. Well, that's the goal. So I'm not just going to lob holes in things. I'm going to try to make it like actually be ducted vents. I don't know, we'll see. Learning as I go, so enjoy the learning process with me, and yeah, enjoy the video. Get things started off, I'm going for the hardest part first, which I think is going to be the hood, in my opinion. A couple things to consider. One is I've got things in my engine bay that vents or ducting might hit. So don't want to hit the intake pipe, don't want to hit the strut tower bar, don't want to hit the turbo, but I want to be able to get as much of that air out. So I spent a bit of time measuring and marking and getting reference points and areas of where to cut while trying to maintain some of the structure of the hood. I'm not too worried if I do have to cut out some of the skeleton, but I don't want to cut out all of the skeleton, and mostly I just don't want the vents to hit things. Yeah, I guess let me flip this hood over and then I'll show you kind of what I got. Alright, so most of where the turbo actually sits is going to be in this area. Right along this line runs essentially the side of the valve cover here. So that's kind of where I wanted to draw the cutoff, and then I'm just running a 45 here to follow the skeleton. Also, I feel like this aesthetically will look kind of nice of smaller vents to bigger vents that are kind of staggered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut basically close to a U and bend it along the upper portion, so that way I'll have downward vents in the hood to kind of try to scoop that air up and let it out. So yeah, we're just going to fuck around, find out, and see how we like it. So let's get cutting. And I got the vents cut. Looks good. Seems pretty parallel with the hood. So I'm gonna use the Dremel and finish up the last little corners and edges, deburr it all, and then we're gonna try to bend the vents down. Happy so far. We got vents cut, mostly deburred. Now we get to see how well it fits on the actual car, how much clearance we have under the hood, and then adjust the vents anymore for their final positioning, and then we'll cut little tabs and weld in little tabbed braces to hold the vents in place, and that'll be about it, minus prepping it for paint. Yeah, see how well it fits. Well, it's a 240 hood at least. I guess let's see how long it clears. Okay. Here it is. Just imagine this in the one color. It's kind of hard to see on camera, I think, but honestly in person, don't look bad. Let's look at the inside clearance. Ah, yes. My measurements were slightly off. Okay, so I went and made little cardboard templates to kind of figure out how I want to block off little sides here, and transferred those to metal. Did some bug zapping, got them welded in on this first one, here and here. Just did it as a trial run, just to see how it went, make sure I didn't blow holes through the hood, and like make sure I could do it. And they came out pretty okay. Yeah. So knocked the rest out in the morning. So it's the next day, wearing slightly more proper welding attire, and got the last few vents prepped as far as ground down to bare metal. Kind of wiped it all clean. Measured the height to be the same across all the vent, same as these. And now I guess it'll just be time to tack it all together. And we're done with the welding. Welds are kind of buggery, ground some of them down. Not my best work, but they're stout. They're gonna hold. Went through and filed down all the kind of sharp edges and everything, and they look good. So yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and try to slap it on the car and see how it looks, how it clears. Alright, so after messing with the fitment a little bit, got the body lines okay over there. This side is still not so happy. It might be caught on something that's causing it to raise. There's kind of a large gap. I don't like it. But, you know, once we get that figured out, should be okay. It actually fits decent for the most part. As far as the vents, we are still touching the strut tower bar just a little smidge in here. Might have clearance this some more, but overall, I think it looks pretty decent. Obviously, sand it all, get it to be one color, but as far as the design, I don't hate it, and should help get some of that heat out of the engine bay. I guess now it's time to get started on the fenders. Old fenders off, shitty, crusty fenders on. Looks, you know, looks terrible. Panel gaps are right up top again, same thing. Bottom could use some love, but it's not fully mounted, so whatever. What I did go ahead and do is reference kind of both sides, see if I had any interior obstructions, and also where the side skirt mounted, which mine mounts fairly low. The previous person had side skirts that were mounted about right here, so it's not quite as bad for me. I have a lot more clearance, so I'm gonna run a larger vent, but in the event I ever run Drifty Boy side skirts, it won't be in the way. So there we go. Cut it just like I did my hood, and then relief it in, make some wedge pieces right there, and weld them in. So I guess I'm gonna rip this guy off, and let's get to cutting again. I managed to cut my vent out. I'm pretty happy with the shape. I think it looks about right. Now I'm just gonna take a torch to the metal, heat it up. I did do a little relief cut on the bottom just to give it an area to bend and hopefully keep this section of the fender straight. So yeah, got my gloves on. Let's give it a shot. Something like that. Cool. So now I'll make a little triangle wedge to block in here in the bottom and the top. So once I got the vent the shape I wanted, I did double check on the car that it wouldn't be binding on anything, and I was happy with the size, so I made a little cardboard template that I then transferred to metal and cut out. So now I'm gonna be doing a little tacky tack. Naturally, the camera died when I was going through and filming the welding, but we are done. We got it basically fully welded all across the top and bottom. Not too shabby. Nice and vented.
Got a little bit of a crease here, but I really don't care. And like, looks good. So, got the passenger fender on the stands. Gonna just measure it, mark it, and then same thing, cut, weld. So this one should be hopefully a little bit quicker. And then I might not even bother mocking it up just yet, just because I'm gonna put the purple stuff back on until I get this all sanded and ready for paint, and then eventually the car sanded and ready for paint. So look forward to that, but I guess for now, let's knock out this fender. All right, marked, measured. Here they are, or here it is, I guess. Fender fender from the outside. Not terrible. There's a few little spots where I had pinholes poking through and stuff, and you know, nothing a little layer of Bondo can't kind of smooth out. But they're pretty on par with each other. I'm pretty fucking happy with it for being my first time and just kind of spitballing it, not knowing what I'm doing. The vents are exactly the same size in the exact same spot. I'm happy with it. So that's gonna wrap it up on this video, making custom metal fenders. Maybe not the most you know, unique and one-off, but they're metal fenders. They're gonna fit like, you know, factory since they are, and they're gonna have a nice little stylish vent. And same with the hood, having some functional yet stylish vents. Got some body work to do, smoothing everything out, you know, maybe pulling some metal here and there, trying to get everything even and fitting perfect, and then prime it all. And we are hopefully going to be painting this car soonish. Who knows how soon it'll actually be, but this is my motivation. So now that we got these done, time to get them ready for paint, and then maybe time to get the rest of the car ready for paint. So keep an eye out for those videos coming up. Make sure you guys get outside and go play in traffic.